The world has always tried to convince you that ordinary is enough, that survival is the goal, that comfort is a prize. But deep inside you, there is a voice that refuses to settle, a voice that whispers in the silence of your nights and roars in the fire of your dreams. You were not born to be ordinary. History has never remembered the comfortable. It has never carved statues for the ones who blended in. The world is shaped by those who refuse the ordinary and dare to command their greatness. Edison was told he was wasting his time. Thousands of failed experiments, thousands of nights in the dark. Yet he refused to accept failure as ordinary. He commanded light out of darkness. Henry Ford was told he was insane to imagine a car for the average man. Yet he refused the ordinary pace of horses and carriages and commanded the birth of an industry. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Lincoln faced defeat after defeat. Carnegie began with nothing but determination in his hands. Each of them heard the same voice you hear now: rise above the ordinary. You see, ordinary is the path of least resistance. Ordinary is a prison built by excuses, guarded by doubt and maintained by fear. And millions will remain there, trapped by chains they forge themselves, because ordinary feels safe. But safety is not freedom. Comfort is not destiny. And mediocrity is not your calling. Greatness demands something higher. It demands you to face your own limitations and tear them apart piece by piece. It demands you to reprogram the way you think, the way you act, the way you see yourself. Greatness is not a gift for the chosen few. It is a decision. It is a refusal to surrender to laziness, excuses, or doubt. It is a relentless conviction that says, I will rise, no matter how many times I fall. Your thoughts are seeds. Every day you are planting something. Fear or faith, excuses or action, weakness or strength. Most people plant weeds and then wonder why their garden produces nothing but struggle. But those who command greatness plant intentionally. They guard their mind as fiercely as a king guards his throne. They choose thoughts of victory, of abundance, of courage, and they water them daily with action. Napoleon Hill said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But belief alone is not enough. Belief without discipline is a dream that dies in the daylight. So you must refuse the ordinary patterns of ordinary men. Ordinary wakes up tired, hits snooze, drifts through the day. Greatness rises with purpose. Ordinary complains about obstacles. Greatness sees obstacles as stepping stones. Ordinary waits for opportunity. Greatness creates it. If you want to command your greatness, you must begin here, in the unseen battlefield of the mind. You must declare war on every limiting belief, every excuse, every whisper of weakness. You must remind yourself daily, I was not born for average. I was not created for mediocrity. I refuse the ordinary, and I command my greatness. The mind is the architect of destiny. Every empire begins not with stone, but with thought. Every invention, every revolution, every masterpiece was first a silent vision, invisible to the world, but undeniable to the one who carried it. Ordinary people dismiss their ideas as impossible. Extraordinary souls protect them like treasure, nurturing them until the world has no choice but to witness their reality. Andrew Carnegie once said that the man who acquires the ability to take full possession of his mind may take possession of anything else he desires. That is not philosophy. It is law. Control the mind, and you control your world. Lose the mind, and you surrender everything. But here's the truth. Control of the mind is not given. It is earned. It is wrestled into submission with discipline. It is forged in fire through daily practice, through resisting the easy path, through choosing the higher standard when no one is watching. Discipline is the bridge between the vision in your head and the greatness in your hands. Think of the soldier who trains before dawn, the athlete who practices long after the crowd has left, the entrepreneur who studies while others sleep. They do not serve comfort. They serve destiny. They understand that greatness demands sacrifice. They understand that every act of discipline is a vote cast for their future. You must ask yourself, what future am I building with my habits today? Because ordinary habits create ordinary lives. But disciplined habits, habits rooted in clarity, purpose, and perseverance, create empires. Clarity is the first weapon in this arsenal. Without clarity, you drift like a ship without a compass. Life pulls you in every direction, toward distraction, toward the expectations of others, toward the mediocrity of the crowd. But with clarity, every step has purpose. Every action has direction. You are no longer reactive. You are deliberate. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they lack focus. They scatter their energy across 100 trivial pursuits, and they wonder why nothing changes. But the great ones lock their vision on a single mountain and climb it relentlessly. They are not swayed by the noise of the crowd, the laughter of critics, or the whispers of doubt. Their eyes remain fixed, their steps unshaken. They will unbreakable. Vision without clarity is a dream. Clarity without discipline is a plan unfulfilled. But when vision, clarity, and discipline unite, the ordinary dissolves and greatness becomes inevitable. Consider Thomas Edison again. Thousands of failed attempts at creating the light bulb. But what most people forget is not just his persistence. It was his clarity. He was not experimenting blindly. He was moving deliberately, one failure closer to success, one step nearer to light. That clarity gave him the resilience to withstand ridicule, exhaustion, and doubt. And here lies a lesson for you. Refuse to drift. Refuse to live without vision. Refuse the ordinary life of reaction. Command clarity. Command discipline. Command your greatness. For every morning you rise with a clear purpose, you separate yourself from the crowd. For every disciplined action you take, you stack bricks upon the foundation of your destiny. And for every sacrifice you embrace, you declare to the world, I am not ordinary. I was not made to blend in. I was born to stand out, to rise, to conquer. Belief is the invisible power that transforms thought into reality. Without belief, the strongest vision remains a shadow. Without belief, discipline feels like chains instead of wings. But when belief takes root in the soil of the mind, it produces miracles that the ordinary man cannot comprehend. Napoleon Hill discovered this truth while studying the giants of his age. Every titan of industry, every leader, every innovator, carried within them an unshakable faith. Faith not in luck, not in circumstance, but in themselves, in their vision, in the unseen future that only they could see. Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That is not a clever phrase. It is the blueprint of destiny. The man who believes he is powerless becomes powerless. The woman who believes she is destined to rise will rise, no matter how long the climb. Belief shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results, and results confirm belief, a cycle that builds or destroys depending on what you plant. But belief cannot be shallow. It must be reinforced by visualization, by the mental rehearsal of victory. Every great achiever has walked through their triumphs in the theater of the mind long before the world applauded. Carnegie envisioned steel empires when he had nothing but dust. Disney saw castles before he had land. Oprah imagined influence before she had platform. They lived their success twice, first in thought, then in reality. And so must you. Each day, you must see yourself already living the life you are building. Speak it, picture it, feel it. For the subconscious mind does not distinguish between reality and imagination. It responds to repetition, to intensity, to certainty. When you live with unshakable belief and vivid visualization, your mind bends the universe toward your vision. But belief and vision are fragile without self-mastery. The man who cannot master himself will never master his destiny. You must conquer laziness, silence fear, chain doubt, and rise above distraction. Self-mastery is a discipline of kings, the foundation of empires, the weapon of all who command greatness. Think of Alexander the Great. He conquered nations because he first conquered himself. Think of Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who ruled the world yet remained a servant of principle. Think of modern leaders who, in chaos, remain calm, who in temptation remain firm, who in hardship remain unbroken. That is self-mastery. That is power. And you, if you are to refuse the ordinary, you must begin each day with this declaration. I command myself before I command the world. I conquer the battlefield within before I step onto the battlefield without. I refuse to be a slave to comfort, to weakness, to doubt. I am the master of my mind. the master of my habits, the master of my destiny. The ordinary man spends his life reacting, pulled by impulses, controlled by moods, enslaved by circumstance. The extraordinary man lives by design, his mind, his body, his actions align with his vision. He is not shaken by storms because he carries the calm within. He is not broken by failure because he sees failure as fuel. He is not distracted by noise because his focus is unshakable. And here lies the truth. Greatness is not about rising once. It is about rising endlessly. It is not about one victory. It is about persistence in the face of 1,000 defeats. Edison failed 10,000 times. Lincoln lost more elections than he won. Jobs was fired from the very company he created. Yet they rose again, and again, and again, because ordinary gives up. Greatness endures. So when you stumble, rise. When you fall, rise. When the world says it is over, rise once more. Each time you rise, you write your name in the book of the extraordinary.